Well met.
Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I thought I would do sort of a LevelCap's day off video where I show you one of the games that I've been playing a lot that is definitely not a first-person shooter. Don't worry, this channel isn't going Hearthstone by any means, and I'm certainly not getting paid or in some sort of promotional deal with Blizzard to talk about this game. I'm just hopelessly addicted to Hearthstone right now. I've been playing this game since the beta. I've taken a little bit of a break as of recently, but now that the new Goblins and Gnome expansion came out, it's certainly pulled me back into the game. I had to go and buy a whole heap of cards and get back into it. Now, Hearthstone's become incredibly popular, incredibly fast. It's one of the few games I've seen become an esport while it was still in its beta form. I mean, they had tournaments going on within a month or two after the game actually came out in beta, which is really, really impressive. And for those of you not exactly familiar with this game, it is a collectible card game, except there's no actual cards. It's all 100% digital, online, BattleNet if you will, and you basically play against one other player each time. I mean, you have a whole world of players to play against, but it's always 1v1 matches. Now, it's a free-to-play game, anybody can get into it, but you do get a big advantage from actually buying cards and spending some money. If you're a good enough player, you can potentially make enough in-game money to get enough cards to just continue to play it freely on your own. And some of the top players in the world have shown, done videos of themselves starting a new account, not putting any money into it, and basically achieving legendary rank just to show that you can actually get to legendary rank and be one of the best players in the world without spending a dime in this game. It's very hard to do and you have to be very strategic, but it is kind of a neat thing about this game is you don't have to actually spend any money to be good at it or do well. All the basic cards will actually get you very far. Something that certainly impressed me the first time I played this game was the tutorial system was incredibly intuitive. Maybe it was easier for me because I have such a big background in Magic the Gathering and the rules translate really easily between the two games, but I picked it up instantaneously. It's one of those games that's very, very simple to learn, but can be extremely hard to master. Knowledge of cards is certainly going to give you a huge advantage. Knowledge of all the different types of heroes in the game and what cards they can use is basically going to be your main weapon against your opponents. You need to know what your opponent can play against you and how to anticipate their moves and plan against them. Now, the simplest way I can think of to explain this game is that it's a turn-based strategy card game. You build your own deck of 30 cards, you put whichever cards you think synergize the best in there, and then you try and kill your opponent. Each hero has 30 health to begin with. Once they reach 0 health, they lose the game. So you can either attack the hero or you can attack the minions that they put onto the board. As you can see in this clip here, there's quite a few minions on the board, but not every card you draw is a minion card. You can have spells that can kill minion cards, attack the hero. You can also have weapon cards. You can have spells that buff up your minions on the board. There's a whole variety of different types of cards, and picking the right combination or the cards that combo best with each other is absolutely essential to winning the game. It's not just about luck of the draw in Hearthstone. A lot of it is strategy, but there's also a lot of RNG, which stands for random number generation. This can take many forms in Hearthstone. Sometimes you'll play a card that summons a random minion. Sometimes you'll play a card that does damage but to a random minion on the board, and it's all kind of up to luck of the draw. This can make tournaments really exciting to watch. They can also make games really frustrating to play sometimes when RNG is not in your favor. Now, some people are pretty harsh critics of the RNG element of Hearthstone, but it's kind of like professional poker in a way. You often see the same players in the final tournaments, you know, and if the game was based that much on random number generation and just pure luck, then you probably wouldn't see the same players time after time in the tournaments. It's because they are the best at calculating their odds and deciding how to build a deck or how to strategize the best use of their cards and get the best value out of their cards over other players. And certainly the RNG element of the game really makes it an entertaining spectator sport, because sometimes games come down to just the luck of the draw or the last card draw, and there's elements, those crucial elements in games where it really is dependent on one card or one thing to just tip the scales in your favor, and that always makes it entertaining and really, really fun to watch. I probably watch Hearthstone on Twitch more than I do any other game. Now there's two key elements to being a good Hearthstone player. One is deck building, the other one is playing that deck, strategizing it, and getting the best value out of your cards. The top tournament decks that some of the tournament winners have played, and you can easily just build that deck by looking at the list of cards, but if you're not a very good player, it's not going to take you far. Likewise, if you make a lot of good decisions each turn and you know how to use what's in your hand well, but you're not very good at constructing the deck or knowing what cards are available, or perhaps how to improve your deck when you run into flaws and come up against decks that counter it really well, again, that's going to slow you down and prevent you from becoming that amazing player. Now, one area of the game that does concern me a little bit is that the new expansion, Goblins and Gnomes, just came out, which is really cool. I love it. Everything's great about this expansion, and I've just been having a blast opening all the new card packs, getting all the new minions, and figuring out what they do. But for new players, that's now a huge influx of brand new cards that they're going to have to learn before they can get better at the game. So the game's becoming more and more complicated with the addition of all these new cards. Not necessarily complicated in how to play it, but complicated in the strategies that you'll be up against. So that could be a little bit more of a learning curve, and I worry that as the game progresses and we get more and more cards, it's going to become harder and harder for new players to get into. One of the ways that Magic the Gathering basically solved this issue was to compartmentalize their expansions. When a new expansion for the game came out, you had your core set of cards that could be mixed with the expansion, but you couldn't mix expansions with other expansions. And this made it so that it was a little easier to wrap your head around the strategies that would exist in the game, and if you were a new player coming in, you didn't have to learn thousands and thousands of cards just to be a good player. You only had to learn a couple hundred cards, or maybe several hundred cards, but still that would allow you to get into the game a little bit easier. It'll be interesting to see if Hearthstone takes this approach at some point, or if they keep just pumping more and more cards into the core set of cards, which could make things very, very complicated in the future. But whatever path Hearthstone takes in the future, I have a lot of faith in the development team. They've made so many good choices so far, maintained a good balance of the game in general, and just been on top of things. I'm sure they're all passionate Hearthstone players themselves. Anyway, that kind of wraps it up for my day off video talking about a game that I play outside of Battlefield. I probably won't be posting any more Hearthstone videos, but just wanted to let you guys know what I'm playing in my downtime. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.